Welcome to Next Level Home Experts with Boss Services. This is the show that helps you take your home to the next level. Your complete source for all your home questions, featuring in-depth interviews with the best home services experts in the industry. And now, your hosts, Boss Services owners and authors, Jeff and Jerry Street.
All right, welcome to Next Level Home Experts, episode 9. So we are going to talk about how to prep your home for spring from inside and out with fresh paint or stain. And that is a huge title. Just tell you that we are going to talk with James Thomas from Armed to Paint.
Armed to Paint.
Yeah, you've seen them. Black van, octopus with paintbrushes.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they have octopus on staff and they just comes out there with 8 paintbrushes slinging paint.
That's
I don't know.
the impression I got.
Yeah. So
he has to be faster. They have to be faster with that many arms.
Yeah, they have to be.
They have to be.
Well, they have to be faster than me anyway. I don't like painting. I'll drag it out.
I'm sure I have unpainted things.
Yeah, I'm sure most people do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's dig into it.
Let's go.
So you're with Armed to Paint. What services do you offer? I mean, obviously, I would guess painting, but yeah. Tell us a little about your company and what you guys do.
All right, cool. No, I can definitely do that. So, James Thomas from Armed to Paint started the business, back in 2017. I'd say the first few years it was pretty much just me, kind of working out of my Trailblazer and all that good stuff. And then, I got a buddy to help me out for the next year, and then I kind of just grew it into a bigger business at that point. And right now we got 4 employees, and think that's a real good number for us. Now what we do, obviously interior, exterior painting. I would say most of the work we do was residential, but we have done some commercial before.
Does the paint know the difference?
No.
Nice.
But yeah, interior, exterior painting, obviously paint your walls, paint your trim, paint your ceilings. We can remove some wallpaper. Scrape some popcorn ceiling off, all that fun stuff. Exterior wise, obviously paint your house, paint your shed, any exterior structure. But we also do some power washing and deck staining and, some stuff like that as well. So,
yeah, I bought a power washer. It's the best toy I have. Sometimes hurts.
So with us being in wintertime and spring coming around the corner here, do you have a busy time and a slow time, or do you kind of just move inside in the wintertime, obviously?
Yeah. It definitely, we try to build up as much business as we can, in the future for the wintertime, because it definitely does slow down in the winter. In the spring and summer, we get, the phones ringing quite a bit estimates, and December, January, February, it kind of slows down the phone, so our theory is kind of book the schedule, for the winter with some interior jobs, which we've been able to do, the last few years. So that's been real helpful. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it definitely picks up in the spring and summer. Mostly the exterior at that point, but it is nice to, middle of August or something, get in there and do an interior job, get a break from the heat. So we'll do that as well.
Oh, so you want the air conditioner running. I got you. Yeah. And then the heat running in the wintertime. Yeah, you need all that. I got you. Needy painters. That's what I just needy. Painters are needy. That's what I got out of that. So, do you have a specialty or anything? Like, do you have something you like to do more than others, or is it just fair game? Just all of it?
I would think our specialty is just, someone who's moved into their house and they want it redone. We've done quite a bit of new construction in the last few years, and we don't have any problem with that. It's just a little tricky, you got to work around, the contractors, like you guys and such, and sometimes that schedule doesn't go according. And that I've learned that's been tough for me.
Yeah.
So I'd say our specialty is a 1-story house, paint a 1-story house exterior. We can get that done in like 3 days. And I would say that's our specialty, but obviously we can do the 2 stories and the 3 stories, we got the ladders and we can rent a lift, good stuff like that. And, but yeah, I would say our go-to is that small exterior house that someone just wants, a little revamp.
No, absolutely. It's good stuff.
We had, painters in here in this office, and yeah, they did a great job, and it was a production. It was more of a production than I thought it would be to have a professional painter in. I mean, my wife and I just take brushes and fling paint at the wall. So yeah. So if you're a homeowner and you're looking for a change in your home, you want to repaint. The colors themselves are just overwhelming. There's 50 shades of pink. Mm-hmm. So what's the best way to go about picking a new color for your home?
Yeah, that's a good question because selecting colors obviously can be pretty tough. I certainly can lead some people in the right direction. I'm no interior designer myself, so I don't like to, like, oh, you're going to love this color and then they hate it, so I'll give them some few ideas, some stuff like that. But, a good place to start is that color swatch book, and that's, I'll provide that, most painters will have that and they can let the customer have it. And they go there, they look through the book, get some colors that they like. Then what you probably should do is bring that to the paint store. And the paint stores offer some like touch-up cups, you know, so you get a small portion of paint, and it's pretty smart to do a couple spots in your house where you want to put this paint on the wall, because it can look like gray in an office, and then you go put it in your house and now you're seeing the blue poke through. Right. So that's the one, that's probably the trickiest color out there is gray. Is you'll think you'll have a solid gray and you paint it on your walls and you're like, man, this is blue, so that's the one color you got to watch out for.
I painted a living room gray once, and after probably 2 months, I repainted it again because gray's a gloomy color for a living room. Yeah. It just kind of was like, so yeah, well, I won't do that again. I think blues are also hard. There's just so many different blues out there.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Do you deal with, this is kind of maybe off the topic here a little bit, but do you deal with like people that are maybe like colorblind or a little bit colorblind, and does that factor into maybe what I think is orange isn't your orange or whatever?
There are times, I guess I haven't specifically asked someone if they're colorblind or not, but there has been times where like, yeah, this is a blue, and I'm looking at it in my head and it's like, this is green, but maybe I should speak up and be like, are you colorblind? Yeah. That's a good question. Maybe I'll have to think about that.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's what the client wants to look at. So it doesn't matter what it is, right? It's just you need to be in alignment with what is going on there is all.
Yeah. As long as they're happy, and make it right for them, it tends to work out for us.
Yeah.
So what are current trends in painting? I mean, everything kind of goes through cycles, I think, across all industries. What's the current, I guess, hot items in the painting world?
Yeah. So like I was saying, we've done a couple new construction jobs over the winter, and both of them, they had the whole house painted white. The ceilings were white, the walls were white, the trim was white. And I would have to say that's what's in right now. I think what it does is, it's a real nice clean look, because when you go in these houses, it's like, man, it looks real nice in here. Right. It also makes it way bigger. You got a living room painted white, and it's going to be quite a bit more spacious than a living room painted, blue or gray, I'd say another color is gray. I'd say interior wise, gray's still in. And for exterior, we painted a couple houses last summer navy blue. You paint the siding navy blue and all the trim and eaves and fascia, bright white. Yeah. And that tends to look real nice too.
Yeah, they do look nice. Yeah.
It pops.
Yeah. It does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't tell my wife that white's in right now, because we have white walls, ceilings, and trim. So yeah, don't tell her that she's right.
You're right. If you're listening, you were right. Jeff was wrong.
Jeff was wrong. Yeah. It won't be the last time. So let's see what else we got here. Wood. Wood trim, wood exterior. What's the life expectancy? I guess not just wood, but I guess just in general, what's the life expectancy of a paint job? Like how long is it going to last?
So it does depend on what you're painting, so if we're going to stick with wood right now, some good information on that is, and I guess staining and painting are two different things. Right. And that's one thing for everyone to keep in mind listening. When you stain a house, if you have cedar siding, you typically are staining it probably every 4 years. But sometimes, if the weather, you had a tough winter, you might have to do it every 3. So I would say it's a real good idea. You want to get that house restained every 3 to 5 years. Real good idea to just go out every spring, look at the house. Is there some peeling? Is there some cracking? Is there some rotting? All that good stuff. And that's a good sign. It's like, hey, I need to, power wash this up and throw some more stain on here. Painting wise, if I would say painting, you could probably get 7 to 10 years out of a paint job. It lasts quite a bit longer. But you got to prep it right, and that's scraping all the loose paint, and then that's priming all the bare wood. A lot of people will just paint right over the bare wood, and then it's going to flake up next year again. So if you prep it right, your paint job will look real good, last a little bit longer than the stain. The staining, it's a little bit, less labor, I guess, because you don't got to prime it first. You know, the stain will take right to the bare wood.
Right.
So, yeah.
What about?
Is there anything you shouldn't be painting, like vinyl or anything? I've seen people paint vinyl.
You certainly can paint vinyl, and that's a great question. You can paint vinyl, but the rule of thumb is you don't want to paint it darker than what it is now. So say you have a tan vinyl, you don't want to paint it dark blue. Because what happens is the sun will hit that and it'll heat it up, and then it'll actually expand it, warp it, your siding. And now I have seen, like, one guy I told that, and he's like, well, I painted mine dark brown and nothing ever happened. It's like, well, I think you probably got pretty lucky. So, I mean, maybe you can roll the dice and get lucky on it, but it's never a good idea to paint siding a darker color than what it already is.
But you have is that a specific product that that adheres to it, or is it a process, or what's that?
No, and that's a good question. When you do go into the paint store and you buy exterior paint, they do always ask you if it's going on vinyl. So I don't think it's necessarily a different paint, but I think they maybe put different coloring in it. That's something I actually don't know off the top of my head, but it is something they do ask for. It sure is. Yeah. Yep, it sure is.
Cool.
I never even knew you could paint it, so I would have never thought about it.
Well, I've seen it done is the only reason. I saw it done a couple of times. And that's why I had that question. Like, is that legit? Should you be doing that? Or, is that me going to Home Depot and slapping some paint on there? Which, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't paint too many vinyl houses. I've never actually painted one. Normally it's, it cleans up real nice. So normally when people do come at me with a vinyl house, I'll power wash it up and
looks like new again.
Yeah, it sure does.
So speaking of power washing, I mean, what when you're getting ready for the spring, or I guess however often you should wash your house, what's that process like? What's that look like?
So power washing obviously is pretty awesome. It can transform your entire home. Your entire property. You can power wash your driveway. You can power wash your sidewalks. You can power wash your house. You can power wash your exterior, your furniture. Yeah. It's a real handy tool. I would say what you want to be careful with power washing is, they can be dangerous. If you don't know how to use them, you can cut yourself. It's a lot of power coming out of there. And you can also damage your property. If you're not using the right nozzle or the right tip, or your pressure's turned up too much, or you're standing too close to the siding, it can really cause some damage. Yeah. So I'd say one thing that a lot of people, I don't know if people are familiar with it, but there's a tool for the power washer. It's called a turbo nozzle, and that it increases your production. It makes you go way faster. I can't quite remember, but it says on their box, by 30%. And it really does mean that. But this thing, you got to be careful. You never want to use a turbo nozzle on wood, because that will really tear the wood up, really from no matter how the distance, or if your pressure washer, if it pressure's up too much, you never want to use that. So when you're power washing wood, siding or a deck, stick with the fan nozzle. Yeah. Always do a little test spot first. It's like, oh man, that pressure's a little too high, or that pressure's a little too low. You're just trying to get the dirt and that top layer of stain off. Once you get that off, that's all you need. And the new stain will adhere to that real well for you. So I think a lot of people, you just got to, because there's houses I go to and it's like, man, the siding's beat up, and you could just tell someone was going a little crazy with a power washer. So really handy tool, but definitely, maybe watch a YouTube on it, before you, because it's good to have some knowledge on that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm in a pressure washing group on Facebook, and I read a lot about that stuff, about the too much power on the wood deck, and it's, permanently, destroyed the wood. Yeah. And also on new concrete, I read a lot of that too. They come at the concrete before it's completely cured, and they etch the concrete, and it's a whole process to get that out. And so, I don't I've done some. I've used my pressure washer on my deck, and I have gotten a little bit too close with high power before, and there's some marks.
It happens, when you're not a pro at it. It's you got to get you kind of got to be like a robot. You just kind of want to be same motion, same distance, and I always was taught you want to feel like a robot when you're power washing.
That's why I'm not good at it, because I get bored real fast.
It's all herky jerky, or just not moving on his phone.
Just watching movies.
Well, I've never pressure washed anything, but I imagine just talking about it, you could probably write your name in your driveway then.
Yeah, you sure could.
Yeah. Well, you draw pictures. Yep.
Okay. All right. Something to try.
Yeah.
I'm going to borrow your pressure washer.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Sign my driveway.
They even make a tip that's just like a straight line, so you could even throw some cursive in there or something like that.
All right.
I'm ordering that today.
It's like peeing in the snow. Just saying.
So, on that note,
Yeah. Let's bring it back.
So yeah, we talked about a lot of things, and obviously we're not in the painting world. Probably obvious from some of our dumb comments. So is there anything that we missed that you want to talk about?
And I did have this written down, but I think we kind of covered it. One thing you definitely want to know is staining a house and painting a house is two different things. If your wood has paint on it already, you want to be priming that bare wood before you paint it again. Also, you kind of want to stick with that, so if your house is already painted, you want to stick with paint.
Right.
If it's stained, you could power wash the stain all off and get real down, but it's always smart once it's stained. It's real smart to stick with stain as well. Yeah. And they do make a solid stain, which is, it's a stain, but it's like paint, it's a real solid color. It's not transparent. Yeah. And that's what your option would be there.
Yeah. So do you do the staining of houses and stuff too, or is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do concrete staining and decks?
No. We do decks, but we have never gotten into concrete staining. Yeah. We've done epoxy floor once. It just wasn't quite our forte. Yeah. You got to rent a grinder, and grind the floor down.
Yeah.
Something we certainly could do, but we really don't offer it right now, I guess.
I watched a video. It looks super easy.
Yeah. Once you get it down, because I have done it before, but
it's all easy.
It's all YouTube easy. Makes everything look easy.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Especially those drywallers.
Oh yes.
Oh my gosh.
Super easy.
So how do they contact you? How do they contact Arm to Paint if they're looking for a project?
All right. So we got a Facebook page. We're on Google. I got an email. It's armtopaint@gmail.com. And then we got a phone, and that the number is 269-519-8859. And then you always got to look for the van. It's a giant black van with a big octopus on it. Mm-hmm. And we're ready to go. So
what's your service area?
It's a good question. I would say mostly Berrien County. Yep. We don't venture too far out beyond that. We've gotten out to Union Pier and, a couple areas like that before, Sawyer, But yeah, I would say Berrien County is our go-to. Our normal business would be in St. Joe, Stevensville, and Coloma. I think that's where a lot of it is. Yeah. But yeah, I would say Berrien County. We've done Niles, all that stuff. So.
Okay, awesome. All right, well.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, thanks for having me, guys. A lot of fun.
Yeah, appreciate it.
We're all more informed now.
Thanks for listening to Next Level Home Experts with Boss Services. We hope you enjoyed this episode and learned some useful home tips along the way. If you found this episode valuable, please do us a favor and share it with others. And of course, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And as always, if you have a home topic you'd like us to explore, email us at info@bosshvac.com. That's all for this episode. See you next time.